Well, the time has come. We are in the final hour of Ruins of Symbaroum on Kickstarter right now. We've got 60 minutes to go. I thought we'd bring on the team here at Free League Publishing that are pretty much the major minds behind this project. And joining me as a co-host is also the wonderful and lovely Anna Westerling, the events manager for Free League Publishing. Anna, thank you for joining me for this session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for giving your time for this last little stretch that you've got here for this Kickstarter. Let's just go around. Why don't you just introduce yourselves to folks that maybe aren't familiar with what you do at Free League Publishing under the Symbaroum title, and we'll start to my right.
Hi.
Mattias?
Mattias is my name, Johnsson Haake. And I am the game director of Symbaroum and now also of Symbaroum, Ruins of Symbaroum for 5e. So I am a happy camper today, and I've been so for the last 3 weeks since we started this campaign. I don't know. Yeah, who have been following the Kickstarter, I have been writing updates. And I have been a little bit in the comments and the comments on updates and so on as well. But yeah, that's me.
All right. And below me is also another Mattias Lilja. Mattias?
Yes. Mattias Lilja. I'm the second Mattias, together with the Mattiases.
The first.
And I'm sorry. From Kickstarter, I've mostly been answering comments, and if you sent messages, it's probably me you got an answer from. Not exclusively, but probably. I'm a co-creator of the original Symbaroum game. I'm supporting. Sorry, that guy. the heavy lifting. My tea, too strong tea. I need to. So mostly on the rules side of Ruins of Symbaroum.
Nice.
Okay.
And last but not least is Jacob.
Yep. Jacob Rodgers. I am 5e system design and writing for Ruins of Symbaroum. So taking all the wonderful stuff that these guys, the Mattiases, came up with and translating it into 5e with their help.
Yeah, and you're doing such a fantastic job of it. We should also add that you have been very helpful during this Kickstarter campaign when it comes to communicating with the backers, because while me and the other Mattias are sleeping here in Sweden, Jacob has been there as our helping hand, or I mean, most often, especially when it comes to rules questions, you are definitely the guy who should answer them as well. So it's not just that you're helping us, but I should also add for myself, just to make that clear, as Mattias, we are co-creators of Symbaroum together, and while Mattias focuses more on the rule side, I focus more on the setting and the big campaign that we hopefully will get to talk about a little more later in this session.
True.
But first, guys, I have a small. You noticed I was working right up until we went on air.
Yeah. What was that all about?
Can we bring up the campaign page?
Let me bring it up here. I think I can probably do that. Wait just a moment here.
Okay, I don't know if we have a backer named Berno Landau with us here in the comments. He is welcome to make himself known. Yeah, we have emptied the dig site, that one says. But
yeah, go
in the campaign.
I'm
there you go.
Oh, okay, there we go. We were looking at the updates.
You scroll down. You see Berno, he had a very obvious, when he said it, comment regarding the fact that we had emptied the dig site of stretch goals. And he said, okay, where is the third art print, or where is the art print of the third core rulebook? So, and I actually noticed that when we passed 4,000 or 4,700,000 kroner, we actually came across the third one. So there, it wasn't empty. We actually find a 33rd little gem for you to add to your reward bundles.
That is crazy to think about, like how much you've unlocked in just this Kickstarter campaign. I'm trying to scroll down so I can get to that last. It just keeps going. It just keeps going on and on and on.
Yeah, it's been totally marvelous. There's the second one, and there you have it. Indeed, with the placeholder image, because Martin hasn't done the cover art for all 3 core books yet. But if it will not be that image, it will be something even more beautiful. So,
that was a good find there under some loose rocks as we were leaving the dig site.
Yeah. No, and thanks to Berno for pointing this out. I mean, we would obviously have thought about it and had that as a stretch goal earlier as Martin hasn't done the artwork for the core books yet, it just didn't cross our minds, I think. So anyway, that's corrected, and we can all add another gem to the stock we're leaving this dig site with.
There's Bruno.
Bruno says, so we have 3.
Yes, we do. Thanks so much for that suggestion.
Excellent. But the amount of people that are so excited in this chat for this product line has got to be so like you as creators and as designers and everything, you must be so ecstatic to have this much support and community around a project that's not even out in print yet. It's still something that we're developing, and so many folks are so excited about that. How does Mattias, Lilja, how does that make you feel as far as seeing the amount of folks that have kind of just come behind this project?
Oh, it's so cool on so many levels. I mean, of course, it's good. It's a wonderful feeling that you create something and other people seem to just go with it and love it. That's awesome. Of course, it also means from a more practical standpoint that we've launched a new product line, Ruins of Symbaroum, that will live for a long, long time, in parallel to the original Symbaroum game and other cool stuff that really does. So there's many angles on it why it's awesome. So I'm it's like it's shock and awe for me. I don't know what to do. I just drink my tea and wonder at the whole thing. So it's amazing.
Like a little hobbit there, some drinking tea and what? Yeah. Anyway,
I
Jacob,
just retreat back into my little burrow, and there's a lot of noise outside. I'm excited by it, but I'm not really sure if I can dare to go up.
Oh. But has it been fun having so much communication with the community? I'm thinking, Jacob, if you have done a lot of mailing, it seems like if I'm looking at the chat here, I'm seeing so much love.
Yes. It's been really awesome to get feedback from the community and to have folks answer questions, or ask questions that we've been able to answer, and talk to folks through the Kickstarter and other means. So very, very exciting.
Yeah. There was someone who said he or she was going to shower in maps, so it's very
No, but it's super nice that we get to provide these maps for already at launch, because the people playing the original Symbaroum game had to wait for many of these maps for years before they got them, and not to mention a lot of the adventures that were unlocked now and that are featured in the I think we unlocked 5 PDF adventures that were collected then into 2 hardback print add-ons. they were also, I mean, they weren't released from scratch for the original game. So we will definitely see, you know, a rapidly growing game line for Ruins of Symbaroum that will be big already from the start. So it feels, I don't know. Yeah.
So what
It's so
happens?
cool.
So what happens now? Is it go home and work, take your tea to your little burrow and start working with all this stuff, or you have gotten a bit on the way and you're like, or is it mostly celebration tonight?
Well, I hope tonight everybody at least celebrates and rests a bit. But I know Jacob is going hard with all the monsters and horrors of Davokar that needs stats. We have a game master's guide to look at, and we have a draft, almost a second draft, I'd say, of the player's guide. So we're away, but I mean, there's a lot of other stuff to do. We're the kind of fans we have. We have stacked up the pile of work ahead is pretty high. So, but all that's glorious, of course. But I think we can give ourselves a night of enjoyment and then some well-deserved rest.
I think we'll have to start to, you know, review the actual work ahead because things have been happening so quickly in this Kickstarter, and we've unlocked stuff that, you know, we didn't even have time to get a quota from the printer on them. But hopefully it will not be like some other Kickstarters you probably heard of that almost bankrupted companies because it got out of hand. We will not have, but again, we have products now that we are going to make that we didn't know that we were going to make for the release. So we probably tomorrow we will going to start reviewing and start replanning the production process up until launch.
Well, that's another really great thing about Kickstarter is that you can kind of gauge your market, you know, and the response before a product gets launched. So, you know, you might have said, okay, well, we know that we'll probably put out these 3 core books, and then, you know, if it does well, maybe, you know, a year, 2 years down the line, we'll add some more supplement books or you know, add more content. But the demand has been so strong that you're just like, we need to support this right away, you know, right out of the gate, and with all sorts of different products. And you know, I think, you know, you'd rather know that on launch than to underestimate and have people, you know, wanting and clamoring for more and not having it there for them.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the cool thing about Kickstarter. It allows you to you get out of your echo chamber, and you get the fans get to vote on what's cool. You can try stuff, and if you're right, you get to do it. If you're wrong, you should be thankful for the feedback. You got it in time, and this time I think we got clear feedback and also the most positive kind. So that's just amazing. And it's I'm usually true to form. I'm not that worried. Most things get solved. But you, Mattias, you've been unusually unpessimistic. So, but I guess
unpessimistic, yeah, for being, but it's yeah. I
didn't say optimistic.
I don't know how to respond to that. No,
yes.
I'm so super happy about how this evolved. It was that kind of let's just get that out of the way. You who follow us, who follow Free League, know that we did a Kickstarter for the One Ring a couple of months back, and that went. I mean, it exploded totally. It was like over $2 million, right? US dollars. So, and that was the most recent Kickstarter we had. So when we went into this one, we had that in, you know, fresh in memory. And okay, we aren't actually at that level with this Kickstarter, but we have learned so super much about a whole new crowd of gamers, the 5e community, that we just don't reach normally, that we are just getting to know. I am quite sure that a lot of the backers that are with us today and that have backed the Ruins of Symbaroum Kickstarter are Free League fans from before, but trying to, as a sort of outsider to the 5e community, penetrate that bubble and spread word there, it has proved a bit of a challenge, and it's definitely something that we have to learn. And looking at that, the outcome of this Kickstarter, it has been far beyond our wildest dreams. It has been, like Mattias said, I have been happy most of the time, and that is not like normal. Well, I don't know. Let's not go into my personality and tear that apart. But no, it's been. You can fill in, Lilja, because we have talked a lot about this, and also you, Jacob, who are in essence part of the 5e community already, and know that that we are coming from outside, trying to burst in. Is that a fair description?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of people who knew Free League, and we're very, very happy to have them on board. But I think also the fact that it was 5e, I think, has brought a lot of people on board as well. We've seen definitely quite a few comments on the Kickstarter about that they don't really know too much about Free League. They may know the setting a little bit. So we're really, really happy to have them on board, and that's going to be an awesome way to introduce people to the entire Free League family, I think.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting.
Nice. So it's been a bit like butterflies in your stomach, like during this whole happy butterflies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially in the early days, you can see pretty
early
where it's going to end up. It's not it's a guessing game in the beginning, and then quickly you see the trend. And I don't know how many Kickstarters Free League has done, but it's a bunch. So we start to have an idea of how Kickstarters look. Of course, reaching a new crowd, partly with the 5e guys. Never touched a Free League game before. We didn't really know what to expect, but a couple of days in, we saw that this is going to work. So at least for me, that's when I started to enjoy it. Be less concerned that it wasn't going to fly. It was more like, how far can we take it, and what are people going to say as we show more stuff and all of that. But it wasn't sort of a concern over was this a good idea or not. That was quite obvious that it was a good idea quite early. So
Did you have?
was always cool.
Had you set all the stretch goals beforehand, or were you like in the middle? You were like, we need to invent more stretch goals, and then of course Berno helped you out a bit. Also,
Mattias's face, I think, pretty much answers that question.
He came to the rescue.
The thing is, normally we have, as Mattias said, normally we have a pretty good idea where we will gonna end up when it comes to the total funding, but much like in that the One Ring Kickstarter, this one has taken us a bit aback. So we had a rough plan up to about 35% of where we will land. So up to about 2 million Swedish crowns. We had a rough idea of what kind of, and we wanted to focus on printed maps and adventure. We wanted to give people stuff, not only the core books, but stuff to actually play. So that was the basic idea of. Also, we wanted to give them a GM screen, of course, because that's obligatory for Free League, and also an item that we find many people have used for at the table. And usability has been a key word all the way through. So when we started hitting like the 20th stretch goal, and we asked ourselves, okay, what can we come up with that is useful and that is, practically, doable under the conditions of the Kickstarter, and also landing now at about 4,500 backers, I think, or something like that. We have to be really smart about the stretch goals, but I think aside from the art prints that are mostly beautiful, luckily they are very beautiful. So aside from them, I think we have followed through on that strategy.
There was a comment in there was a question in the chat, and I think it's good to kind of let folks know. So if they're planning on backing this project, Rick was asking if backers would have access to the beta and alpha or beta PDFs as they're being as they're being put out in development, because a lot of folks were asking about playtesting. They were asking about, are they going to get PDFs, as the development goes along? And I know that's sometimes something that the Free League does. Would you be able to address that at all?
Yeah. Well, we've committed to send out the player's guide. I don't know exactly when, late fall. I don't know if you said we were specific on that, but so it's going to be an alpha stage.
Or earlier, we should say.
Fair enough.
Late fall, right. Or earlier. Yeah.
So yeah, there'll be a player's guide for people to start.
Yeah. You have an opportunity
with PCs. Yeah.
Yeah. You have an opportunity to see the rules, experiment with them, and give us feedback. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, there has been questions, people wanting to play test and help and so on, and then you go in and back, and you will be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right now we're running tighter play tests. There's to iron out the more obvious kinks in the system that we can find, and then we need more eyes and more people on it. So it makes sense to start small and then go with a big group.
We also unlocked some new stuff during the Kickstarter that were on the drawing board, but that hasn't been. They need a little bit extra play testing and so on before we can go out with an alpha, which will be the first. And we have said in fourth quarter this year, but a more fair estimate would be fourth quarter or earlier, as I said. So fingers crossed that we can get it out before October.
No one has. Yeah, go ahead. No, go for it.
No, just something to riff on what you said, Mattias. I think there's one of the reasons that Free League is actually quite good at doing Kickstarters is that we actually try to design stuff before we say we're going to make it, which leads to sometimes us referring to things like we worked on it, but nobody's seen it yet. The burdens was one in this case where we're like, can we improve? Can we add burdens to 5e? There's really no burdens. Is more of it's a drawback your character has that gives you some advantage, some drawback, and gives a lot of character to your character, right? To your PC. So we had to have Jacob take a stab at that first to see that we could take it. We didn't just say, let's do that, and then we tried just afterwards, like, now I can design it too. So we try to stay a bit ahead and then look at what we can do. So we have a really, doing a Kickstarter is fun and hard, and then delivering on that is worse. I think everybody's tried it. Know that it's easy to overpromise. You get super excited and overpromise, and then that's better for you, your mental health and your company's finances for a long time. So you need to be able to wrap that in a good package. What fans want and what you can make should probably meet somewhere.
But so whenever Free League has a Kickstarter, like they are also, you should know there are stuff in the drawers that hasn't been presented. So you want to bump it up so much so they're forced to put out these things.
Or it can be like in this case where we had to,
You emptied the drawers.
Yeah, we emptied the drawers and had to go to the neighbor and rummage through her drawers as well. So, but in the
also
end,
think that when you design, not everything is going to turn out good. So you need to over design a bit and do certain things that you then might like. We're not going to put anyone through this. So it's always the. And it sometimes pops up when you talk, because we talk about it like you've done it, but we haven't really done it. We've just tried it, and maybe it worked or maybe it didn't. So that's why when we say that we know what's going to go into these books, is because mostly Jacob is spending time actually taking a stab at it and proving sort of proof of concept. This is not at all ready, but it will be if we spend enough time on it.
Yep.
So that's why we can't start sending things now. We're going to wait until we've actually designed it. And explain how it's supposed to be used.
Yeah, sometimes concepts are good in the head, but not really working on the page, I'm guessing.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
You also have even more often it's the case that two things are brilliant before you try mixing them. And this is very true in both game design and setting design. For RPGs, and it's obviously true in other creative senses as well, but very much so that you create one thing and you try it and it's super cool, and then you try another thing, but when you try to run them together, it all falls apart.
It's like toothpaste. It's like toothpaste and olives. Both are okay, but maybe not together.
Yeah, I thought it was toothpaste and orange juice, but. Sure.
Fair enough. I'm a bit more refined than you. I do all that.
Yeah, you are. You are for sure.
So the three of you sit like a little team, and maybe also with other players, and play stuff, and then suddenly discover, play test, and then discover, oops, this was ketchup and ice cream or whatever. This doesn't go. Because it seems like you have become a little team here.
That's part of it, but I think Jacob has his own little crew that aims to break down everything he builds, and if it stands,
exactly.
It's
good. Exactly. So they've done an excellent job of breaking some stuff, which has given us a chance to fix it. So.
Nice. So I know it was kind of addressed earlier that this product kind of gets Free League into a new audience for their consumers, and Nolan actually made a comment that I put up on the screen earlier that said, I would have never known about this product if it wasn't adapted for 5e, and I think that's really important to point out to folks, because I know a lot of our Kickstarters, this one's kind of skewed a little bit different as far as the community is concerned. It's definitely has a more North American focus as far as backers. Let's just, I don't have all the data in front of me, Mattias. Maybe one of you guys knows what the typical Free League backers where they come from. But the United States leads the way at 2,311 backers. And then third place is Canada with 264. So if you add those together, that's almost 2,600 backers that are here in North America. And I have a feeling that's on the higher side of what a typical Free League campaign looks like.
Most Free League campaigns, the states lead number of backers, but never in this way. I think, or maybe I shouldn't swear on that, but the ones I've looked at in the recent day, just to get a comparison, it may be up to like 45% that are American, but in this case we are over 50%. A majority of the backers are from the States, and that's probably because it's a 5e game. I don't know if that's a fair analysis, but feels like
it would make sense. I mean, role-playing games started in America with the first edition or even the 0 edition in 1974. So it's got a bit of a head start on most other type of games. So the brand value here and the community is pretty darn big. So that it shows, but it also part of one of the challenges we touched on is that it's a fairly close-knit community that's sort of walled off from a lot of other. There's a lot of people that play only 5e,
Right.
And why not? It's a huge buffet in its own. You can play almost in every type of campaign or style or whatever you want. And if you go into, just Google it and start looking at homebrew and whatever free available stuff online that you have done, you have an amass of content. So that I absolutely get why people in that community don't really know what happens beyond, because there's really no, unless you're one of those that prefer small weird indie games that do one thing really well, which is another type of player. You probably don't have a good view of what happens in the rest of the world, which is fine in the RPG community and the greater RPG world. So I get that, and it's super fun that we get people like that who can just say, "I just saw this because you did the 5e version." That's it. Make me really happy.
Yeah, it will be super interesting to see what this does for Symbaroum in general, as well as for. I saw the thing you posted right now, Doug, the comment about Free League, because one of the ideas behind this whole concept, the fact that we are actually doing it, is that we want to bring awareness to Symbaroum as it's one of our own original IPs of Free League, but also, display the name Free League to a new and slightly different audience. Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, if you look at Symbaroum, the original Symbaroum game, it released in 2016, 5 years ago, and it's been gaining traction all the more. I am just preparing the sixth printing of the core book.
Wow.
Right now. So yeah, I mean, it's not that the original Symbaroum isn't going very, very well, and it's going better and better as time goes by. But this is just because we've heard from so many game masters, especially and not least in America, they say that I love this game. I actually love the setting and the system, but my players don't want to play anything besides 5e. So what did we do? Because to us, we started discussing the possibility of doing this conversion even before we released original Symbaroum in English. So it's been in our minds, and I think you can say that at least in part, Jacob has been a part of that reason as part of Adventures in Middle-earth, which was what gave us this idea that, yeah, why not? We have this cool setting that we love. We have these adventures that we are super proud of. Why not make them available to this enormous, fan base of 5e?
Absolutely. And I think that based on previous experience, I am certain that the expansion of Ruins of Symbaroum will bring attention to the original Symbaroum as well. So I don't think there's anything but growth for both going ahead.
And I think that should be stressed a lot to everyone that's viewing, that this product does not replace Symbaroum as a product line. This is an addition to the Symbaroum. And I know it's been brought up in the chat a few times. Does this impact the original Symbaroum product line, or does this impact any plans that you have going forward, or does it impact any future projects that you might have? I guess those are all questions that have been asked a time or two in the chat, and I don't know who amongst you wants to answer that question, but I'll just put it out there and feel free to answer whoever feels comfortable.
I'll tackle that one.
Sure.
No, I think I hope it will have an impact. Otherwise, it would be pointless. But I want to see it in a positive light. I mean, there's a slightly narcissistic reason to do this. We want more people to see the great world that we've done, that we think it's amazing. And we want to hear other people say that too. And I think a lot of people will like it. So, but there's also the business reason that if we can make a steady, we have a bunch of fans that follow us on this. It doesn't really matter if they play 5e or the original system. If they help us prop up Symbaroum, we can continue into infinity creating cool stuff. And of course, there's a bit of a addition to producing books in both systems will consume some resources, but it would also, releasing both would also give us more resources. So I think, I'm pretty sure it's a net gain, especially with Jacob. That would not be on the team unless we did this, right? So,
Right.
So for me, it's if you like Symbaroum, you should probably try to be comfortable with the idea that more people will play it, and they will do it maybe in different systems, but when they meet, they will talk about the same setting, same characters, same events, same horrible fates in the same awful tomb somewhere.
And the thing is, people are already playing original Symbaroum with different systems.
Yeah, for sure, of course.
Yeah. Some ported to the Year Zero engine, or there are people who play the Symbaroum game using a whole set of other the systems they actually do enjoy and love. Yeah. So that is already happening, because that's how systems work. It's very much a question of play style and taste, and for us, bringing Symbaroum to 5e is about opening up the setting to those with a different taste when it comes to mechanics. We try to keep much of the tone and much of the flavor also of the rule set that we offer for 5e. You can expand on this, Jacob, but it's still a different way to build your character, a different way to progress your character, a different way to tackle, player and player character rewards and such. Yeah, take it away. I shouldn't talk about these things.
No, yeah, you're fine. You've got it, absolutely. I think one of the things that folks are going to discover as they look into the 5e, for folks who are familiar with Symbaroum and the original system, one of the things that they're going to find is that the original Symbaroum system gives you lots of choices, and you're going to make certain choices depending on how your character, what kind of character you want to play. Whereas in the 5e system, you make some important decisions fairly early on, what your class is going to be, what your approach is going to be, and then you're going to find that the features that are available to that approach are going to make sense. It's basically, in the original Symbaroum, you have the choice, which is great. In 5e, you make that first choice, and then it provides you with a list of things that you say, oh, I probably would have taken this anyways in the original Symbaroum system. So, when you get a chance to talk to people about, what your character is like or whatever, I think there'll be a lot of interesting crossover where, a 5e player could be talking about how they have lore master or whatever for their character, and, the original Symbaroum player would say, yeah, I took lore master too. Well, of course, in 5e, you didn't take lore master separately, but you put yourself on a track to get lore master, or any other one of the features. I think there's going to be a lot of similarities.
And I think we talked about it a lot in the beginning. We knew they were going to differ in detail, but it needed to be the same spirit. You might get to the same place, but you would take a slightly different route. It became depending on system, but you'd be scared of the same things or happy about the same things, but they're going to play out differently, especially on your character sheet. Not going to look exactly alike, but they might be named alike and do roughly the same thing, or they would get you to the same place or out of the same mess. So that's how we wanted to approach it. So they're going to be slightly they're going to be clear differences, but their similarities are more on the higher level rather than on the minutiae, so to speak. That's going to be more different.
Sure.
But to me, coming from the video game industry, for me, it's just it's a bit like shifting from one platform to another. You're adding console, or now you can do it on tablet, or maybe there's a version on the phone. It's like, what are you playing really? Well, it's a fantasy about something that you experience and want to feel together with your friends. That's sort of the setting and the themes and all that. And if the input device might be different, the screen size might be different, some functionality might work different, and it looks different. So even on those terms,
It's a different interface, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and some of the
great way
inputs
to-
are different, and you can't play multiplayer against the other guys unless you're on the same platform. So it's sort of so there's some similarities on how that would work. I think in this, we want to expand the base of people who play the game. Basically, because we're convinced it's awesome, but other people will have to tell us that.
Let's. There was a question in the chat about adding funds for add-ons, and I think that's we've got about 20 minutes, a little under 20 minutes before this campaign ends, and I think we should probably let's answer that question for. I think it was Chris that asked that earlier. How if folks are interested in adding anything onto their pledge, maybe they backed one of the basic the pledge levels, and now they want to add some of the cloth map or the adventure book. How do they do that on this Kickstarter?
Should I?
Yeah, you're the Kickstarter
I don't know.
man.
The thing is, I actually just learned during this Kickstarter that the phone app works a bit differently from the browser. So I'm aware of the browser, and in the browser you go to the top of the page where you find the button called Manage My Pledge, and then in there you can change the total funding that you are pledging for this project, and you will then scroll down and look at the cost of the add-ons you want. For instance, it can be 298 Swedish krona for the adventure compendium, and then you need to look at the number you have in that pledge amount window and add the 298 krona to that. And later on, after this Kickstarter has ended, some time later, you will be invited to a pledge manager where you can tell us exactly what you want for those extra funds. Now, in the app, you do, as I understand it, really you should contact Kickstarter support, because we are not that they know their platform. But you have the app, and in that app you can add a bonus. It's called a bonus. And you only type in the extra amount you want to pledge in that box called the bonus. That's how I understand that it works, at least I hope. And we've been telling people that, and they haven't gotten back to us. So hopefully that's correct.
So they gave up, or it was actually correct.
Yeah, and we have also a step-by-step regarding the browser version in the FAQ on the site, so you can look that up and follow. It's 4 or 5 easy steps.
I think you summarized it well, Mattias. I think the confusion is you don't actually pick a product. You add a value.
Right.
And later, in the pledge manager, you point to what product that is, which is sort of slightly, if you're new to Kickstarter, then this comes off as weird, I think, to a lot of people. And because like I'm adding funds, and then what? How do you know what I want? What I want? Like we don't, and the pledge manager, you get to pick it. So there's you've done it once or twice, it's fine, but the first time it clearly is not
super intuitive.
It's not super intuitive. I guess that's that.
It's easy to forget that not everybody. I mean, the Kickstarter's been around for quite a while, and we've done so many of these Kickstarter campaigns. There's still folks that have this might be their first Kickstarter to back. So it's always good to explain it. Yes, Mattias.
Doug, can you highlight AKA Kira's question?
That right there?
Yeah, because that one is really important.
Sure.
The GM screen is a a stretch goal. It's included in Warden of Davokar, Conqueror of Symbaroum, and also in Regent of Symbar. But we introduced it as an add-on because people contacted us and asked us that they might want to pledge extra for a second one. Also, there is the pledge level that is called Keeper of the Wilds that does not include the printed stretch goals, and those backers may wanted to add maybe a GM screen. So rest easy, Kira. If you have one of the higher tier pledge levels, you will get the GM screen, including the booklet as well. And if you want a second one, you know what to do.
But I think this goes back to, again, the 5e community. There's a lot of 5e Kickstarters, right? There's a bunch of them. But for the most part, the behemoth in the 5e, the original publisher and developer of 5e, doesn't do Kickstarter. So a lot of people who are very familiar with 5e probably never back the Kickstarter ever, because they don't really have to. They have stores, they have online resources and all of that does not include Kickstarter. So I think we saw that now in this Kickstarter. A bunch of people messaged, since I was on the message side, got a lot of messages, and clearly from people who thought this was exciting, but they were not really used to Kickstarter. And then again, about just the difference between a stretch goal and an add-on, that sounds maybe to people have done this before. It's like, yeah, we know what that is. One comes with your pledge level and the other one you add, right? Not so clear, I realized. It's just because you've done it a couple of times, it sounds natural, but there's a bunch of those that's come up.
Austin also has a question that says, will we be able to add funds in the pledge manager? So he's maybe thinking of maybe adding something on after the fact, and once the pledge manager gets put out, can folks add more things to their pledge? Maybe they do want to add that second GM screen after the campaign ends. Is that also doable?
Yep, absolutely. They'll be able to add the item and then pay for the item in the pledge manager. Of course, we've been saying across the campaign that do it now, because that way it adds towards the stretch goals. We're out of stretch goals, so the next 12 minutes, if you can't pledge, that's great. But if you need to do it in the pledge manager, that's fine too.
Yeah, you can always raise your pledge and do add-ons.
Yeah.
I also have a question about the game. There was someone in the chat who said that Mark said that he never played. So I'm wondering, we talked a lot about Kickstarter, and soon we'll get back to that, because I think we're here for there's 12 minutes left. But what can Mark, who's never played this, expect in a word or possibly a sentence, but in one word, and maybe the chat can help out also to tell Mark here what to expect. Because he was excited, but he's like, what can you expect of this game if you never played? Because that's also fun, that we have people who never tried Symbaroum in this.
I can give him a concrete set of advice first, and then we can talk.
Which Mattias first? Because Jacob started.
Okay, Jacob, go.
Well, Mattias JH had a great little thematic thing that he came up with. I think I would cover it in 4 words, right? 3 or 4 words.
That one. Okay, let's take Lilja first then, because I think that one is smarter. It usually is, and I can take my stupid one later.
No, mine wasn't smart. Mine wasn't smart. It was more concrete. There is a free trial that you can download.
Yeah.
In the Kickstarter, it's called Try It Out. It's from there's a drive-through RPG download where you can play a couple of levels and try out the game, so you can get an actual concrete run of the first few levels with a couple of pre-generated PCs. So you can take that for a spin and see more of the mechanics, a bit of the setting and all that, and get a sense of it. That was mine, not just
That's very
tip.
practical.
If you want to
So
go a practical
practical,
tip.
if you never play.
Now to the more esoteric.
Yeah, no, I had 3 words, and this is then in reference to the original 5e game, I would say. So I had these 3 words. It's darker, deadlier, deeper. And that sounds maybe a little bit pretentious, but if, as Jacob said, you have to explain it for it to make sense. So, okay, so it's darker in tone. It's deadlier in the sense that the mechanics, it actually a lot easier to die when playing Ruins of Symbaroum than your standard 5e game. And it is deeper in a lore sense, I would say. So a really, really short elevator pitch in relation to 5e in general would be darker, deadlier, deeper.
Cool. I hope that helped Matt to get excited to dive into darker, deeper, and
Yeah. But I mean, when we say deadlier, it's not just a thing. We had a discussion about this earlier. It's not like we have designed the game to make total party kills the standard. It's not that kind of game. It's just that it's deadlier in order to force characters to find other ways to deal with their problems than to just grab the sword or throw that fireball. In Ruins of Symbaroum, you will find yourself in situation where you would rather run away than pick a fight or answer a call to a fight. So yeah.
The other thing that I would like to point out while we still have just about 7 minutes left to go on this campaign is that you're just not funding a physical product line. There's also a virtual aspect to this campaign that Free League's never done as well. I guess they've done it maybe with Twilight a little bit, but like this is you're also not giving you're giving backers not only the books but also a virtual way to play this game on Foundry. And do you want to talk a little bit about that? And I know there's been some questions as to whether or not we're going to support other virtual tabletops, but I think it's definitely, I think, a part of this campaign that's being overlooked, maybe a little bit. That now you're kind of getting 2 product lines with this when you pledge this campaign. You're getting the actual physical books or the PDFs, and you're going to get the virtual tabletop modules for this game as well. So you'll have you'll have quite a few different options of playing this Ruins of Symbaroum game. Do you want to talk a little bit about the virtual tabletop aspect of this campaign?
I can start maybe.
Sure.
Now we first off, there's a lot of people playing 5e on different virtual tabletops, so it felt natural to go that route, not just on account of COVID, but virtual tabletops predate COVID by quite a significant amount of time, and especially in the 5e community. So it made sense to go there. We've tried a couple of different ones with Free League. Sometimes more directed by us. Sometimes fans have picked it up and done stuff. So we had a chance to play our own games in some other platform. We like Foundry. We think it has a lot of functionality that we want. That's why we picked it. It's not the only one, of course, that's good. But we have to pick one to do it right. So we can promise to do one of them good, do it justice, so to say. And that's why we wanted to go there and why we picked one. They're not as easy to, again, they're different platforms, and you can't just take whatever you have on Foundry and pour it into some other and expect it to do anything meaningful. That's not how it works. So we need to be careful, again, to where we want to go and how much we want to support. Because there's a support.
Yeah, and also how much we can promise at this stage.
So that's why we're not to diss anyone else. It's more of a how do you conserve our resources to deliver quality product, even in the virtual space.
Very good.
5 minutes to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the other thing that we should mention is that Foundry lets us bundle packages of physical products and the virtual tabletop aspects into our web store, so we have a little more control with that marketplace. Yeah, let's go. We've got 4 minutes left to go, and we are just a hair under. Well, my prices are my dollar amount is in the US dollars because that's where I'm at. I apologize for everyone else that
is in dollars. Yeah, it is, man.
Well, my currency amount. I'm sorry.
Could have been Canadian dollars, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, it could have been, but yeah, the amount that's showing on my screen right now is US dollars. But it is. I'll give folks it's 4,753,000 plus Swedish krona.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. We have done as I said. I think we have done 2 Kickstarters over the years with higher funding, and that was the One Ring, and then there was the new version of Twilight 2000. There are known brands. Of course, the One Ring is the Middle Earth setting. So to see this campaign reach these heights, also in the highly competitive environment of other 5e products. As of right now, you have like 2 awesome, really cool, super big product lines or campaigns that runs alongside this one. And just before this we started, there was several other big ones. So we are super happy that there are enough people out there who shares our taste in games that we were able to gather this many backers to our project. You hear I'm confused, baffled, and a bit stunned and lost for words, and I don't know.
It looks like
super happy.
It looks like we're almost gonna. I mean, we got a chance of getting 4,400 backers. Like that is a large amount of people.
Ooh,
switch
to seconds. It's nice.
Yeah, this is like a very, very long New Year's countdown.
It is.
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
I came prepared this time. I didn't have graphics for the countdown on the one that we did for the One Ring, but I've got a little something special for once it hits 0 here for everyone that's viewing the live. So,
but only if it turns out well. Right?
Yeah,
we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet.
We don't know. It could.
I mean, it could be 4,000 people just dropping their pledges like right now, and then we don't have that graphics to look forward to.
We'll see. It's super tense these last seconds.
No, and people are congratulating you guys in the chat, so I think it's all very happy, and it's like
we wouldn't be here without those guys, so we would need to thank them, and that's how it goes.
If they are backers, we say congrats to you too, because together we have built some really awesome reward packages, not only for the prints but also for the digital pledge levels, including the virtual tabletop stuff and whatnot. So we have done this definitely together, and wow, what a ride. 10 seconds to go.
8 seconds.
Oh man! Here we go.
1.
6 more people.
Here we go.
Oh. Beautiful dog.
There we go. Let's see here. What did we finally finish with? It looks like
it usually can tick up a bit afterwards as well.
Yeah, 47,
Because-
4,764,000. But yeah, there might be people processing right now.
Yeah.
That's
So
Yeah,
we'll-
people are super happy in the chat. They loved your graphic apparently. Happy New Year. Congratulations from France. I'm also thinking that's so cool. There's people all over the world, even if we're so far away from each other now. Woohoo!
yeah.
Yeah.
And people are happy
Super
for
nice.
the well-received campaign and trailer, and are showering in champagne.
Well, Walter says
Not have to
now,
wait, but
Walter says now the waiting begins.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or
For
enjoy
you,
it.
yeah. For you, yeah. We have stuff to do.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
a work cut out
Campaign
for
and
us.
maps, exactly. That's what we're gonna shower in. Yeah.
You can dry yourself with the maps, especially
Exactly.
if you have that add-on cloth map. You can
Yeah,
use
yeah.
it to
There
wipe
you
the
go.
That's
champagne
probably
off
just
your
gonna look
face.
better if you do.
Yeah, Happy New Symbaroum. That was a good one.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. That's
It was a good take on it.
people are very excited. And one comment that was even put in before we even went live, and it was brought up quite a few times, is the amount of value that I know. It's easy to say because we all work for the company, but it's nice to see that the folks appreciate the value that they get. Because I know we all work hard for our income, for our money, and I think that shows that Free League really kind of really appreciates the folks that put their dollars behind our products, and we want to give them a good product because we know that they work hard for their money. We like to work hard for them, so we that was kind of a constant theme that kind of came up right before we went live, is that people were really excited, and they were very pleased with the amount of the value that was there with these
But
pledges.
you know what? As I said in one of the last updates, I am equally happy that the reward packages that we will deliver, they do not only add a currency, a retail value, but they will actually add a lot to the game, to add a lot to the experience when playing. So I'm super happy that we went that way, and that because sometimes and we love it when people reach out to us and ask us for things or wish for stretch goals, but in the end we have to call the shots. And even if we would like to say yes to exactly everything, we can't, and we have to try to keep a steady line and follow the basic idea or concept we have for the stretch goals of this campaign. And I think we did, and it feels super good now that we are have passed the finish line.
Yeah.
The finish line.
Frederick wants to apologize to Jacob, and he says, "We're sorry you won't be able to see your family for the next few months."
See, Frederick, we had an agreement. We had a conversation about this earlier on the comment section.
That's the way it is.
Will the three of you have a meeting tomorrow and be like, okay, now notebooks up. This is the plan, or
Probably Monday.
Monday.
I would say.
There'll be lots of things to talk about.
I
Then
think,
there's
I think the Mattiases will have a meeting tomorrow and do some planning.
Yeah.
I think Jacob
Nice.
knows pretty much what he's supposed to do. So
It won't be a very lively meeting though tomorrow. Do you think? I think it will be more like snoring in chorus,
do you think?
like sleeping next to each other on
We used to
Facebook
live
or
together,
whatever.
so we know how it sounds.
Yeah.
Well, that's another question that is. I know that you're very excited about this Kickstarter, but a lot of folks that have never run a Kickstarter realizes that there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of hours addressing comments and emails and messages, and that you must be at least a little bit relieved that part of it's over, and now you can just kind of stick to work and kind of put your eye on the finish line a little bit little more diligently.
I mean, when you're running a Kickstarter, the Kickstarter sets the pacing of your work. You can't really choose. So when we start work, we can stick to regular hours and share stuff and in another way. So it's not less work, but it's, I think, better perhaps directed by us more than by needs of people have very reasonable questions and comments that you should address in a timely manner during the Kickstarter. And now we can just put that to rest a bit and make sure we deliver stuff. So the pace will change, not necessarily the hours, but
isn't it like it's sure it takes a lot of energy, but it also gives a lot of energy?
Sure. Yeah,
I don't know.
Kind of see that.
What do you say, Jacob? Because you have been up all night, or for us nights, but
right. Yeah, no, I think there's definitely a certain amount of excitement that helps drive it. Just as much as we pretty much offer 24-hour coverage almost with the fact that I keep a weird cycle anyways, and the 6-hour difference has really helped with folks having coverage. But it's exciting and it's wearying all at the same time. But like Lilja said, it's we want to do it. We want to answer everybody's questions. We want to help everybody out. We want to make sure that you got everything you wanted out of the Kickstarter if we can give it to you. So.
Yeah, and for me, it's been a nice change of pace to have two companions, because I used to run these Kickstarter campaigns by myself, and I guess maybe that if or when we do another Kickstarter for the original game, I'll be sitting there alone around the clock, crying and laughing and crying and laughing. No, so it's been super nice to have you guys with me this time. It has made my life livable, I would say, because while you have been out there answering questions and stuff, I have been actually working on a product for the original Symbaroum game that will also one beautiful day appear on the 5e side of the street, the 5e console, as we call it.
Exactly. Now we're talking.
So, before we kind of sign off, should we talk about a little bit what's going to happen after this Kickstarter is over? I know that we've talked about the pledge manager. Do you want to give some sort of estimate as to how long? I know Kickstarter has to collect the funds, and that usually takes a while, and then we have to build the pledge manager out. And do you want to talk a little bit about, because this a lot of. I know says this is the countdown, but this is actually just the beginning for this line. So I think maybe we should talk about what should folks expect, in the months to come from this team right here and the after products and after things that happen after the Kickstarter.
I don't see the pledge manager starting until after the summer.
Okay,
that is most realistic. However, we will be able to circulate the alpha version of the player's guide even if you haven't completed the pledge manager. So that can happen whenever we are ready to launch the pledge manager. And it's maybe even, again, it's all a question of timing, and we don't want to release anything until we feel that we have something that we are comfortable with, people starting to play test and so on. But the ideal, I would say, would be to get the alpha out first, have it out for a bit, just also to make word spread, having people start actually playing and playing around with it, talking to others who didn't back it on the Kickstarter, and then launch the pledge manager, or at least make sure that the pledge manager runs a while after we have launched the alpha. So we don't know exactly when the pledge manager will start. All we know is that work on these products is already underway. So it's not like something new starts tomorrow. It's just that now we know. Yeah, actually, some of the stretch goals are new to the production schedule. So those we do need to talk about. But yeah, I'm quite happy that we set February as a target date for delivery. We had plans to maybe be able to deliver before the turn of the year. That would have been not doable, I would say, under the current circumstances with all the unlocked stretch goals. It would have.
It's a quality question, right? More than anything else.
It's a quality.
What do you ship? To have a reasonable chance to do it well. Right, so that's good. But we do have late pledges as well, right? So
in the pledge manager, yeah,
exactly. So people that are late to the party or hear something, they can show up, and if you have a friend that want to show up late, you can bring them too. Do we want to talk anything about what happens after the delivery? Do we dare gaze into the crystal ball and have ideas?
Wow, I wasn't going to bring that up, but yeah, if you want to, go for it. I'm not going to. If Mattias, go for it.
Okay, if you do, that's okay. As game director, I will just sit here and look skeptical. And
that's how meetings.
We talk about what we want to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what I want to do, and then the other Mattias can shoot it down. No, no, but I think the landing on these numbers that we did now in terms of fans and funding means that there's a good base to continue conversion of things that we have launched already for Symbaroum and keep moving them to the 5e space. I think that makes a lot of sense. And of course, the big behemoth in that regard is the campaign, the Throne of Thorns. 5 parts now, or soon to be 6 parts when it's done. Just by raw page count, it's one of the biggest role-playing campaigns ever written. So that's it's a bit of a daunting task to do, but I think it would be awesome to do it. So in our meeting tomorrow, Mattias, just so you know, bring strong coffee, because I'm going to start talking to you about this. How do we do that? That's the thing I want to know. And there's a bunch of other stuff that's not in the Kickstarter that 5e players deserve and probably want. We can also talk about, but I think the campaign is the big thing. So that we need to attack that. And not the problem.
Okay. On this, we do not agree. I'm just kidding. To me, the Throne of Thorns. Yeah. The Throne of Thorns is, I would say, the spine of the Symbaroum setting. That which the body of that setting, keeps it upright and makes it move forward.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, we almost drafted the campaign first, and then we're like, what type of books do we need to be able to play that campaign? We probably have to launch them first. So there's exactly. And then not to talk down to the other adventures we have; they're awesome. But the campaign is since it's a connected arc, I think we need to we need to go there and do that, and then. But again, think a bit first, since that's a.
The thing is that when this
we need to have a good plan of attack.
Yeah, when this launches in February, people will have access to the Adventure Compendium, which is 6 adventures, or 7 with the Promised Land, which is sort of a prequel. And then you have also the possibility to go a little bit wider, further in the setting in Call of the Dark. So people, and obviously you can use the bestiary. It's full of adventure setups and stuff that you can play around with for a long time. So it's not like we need to start releasing the campaign tomorrow. It's more, it will take a while before, I mean, we need to let this, see how it lands, you know, what sort of splash it makes before talking. And it's a bit premature to, you know, talk dates or even quarters when it comes to those sort of products.
Yeah, for sure.
The fact that we absolutely want to do this, it's one of the reasons why we did Ruins of Symbaroum is because we want to show 5e gamers the Throne of Thorns. We want to give them the possibility to experience it because it's
I think the order we're doing it. You forgot 2 adventures in the Game Masters. No, sorry, the GM screen.
Yeah.
You have 2 more. So there's a ton of high quality content that is probably going to be on the lower level side, treating you well between levels 1 and 10, basically, which I think is going to be awesome, and you're going to be well versed in the setting before anything relating to the campaign shows up, which I think was hard on some people that ran the original Symbaroum setting, that they haven't really acquainted themselves with the world yet. So it became a bit of a tough hurdle to jump into the campaign as an early thing. So I think a lot of people will appreciate having done all the other stuff before they even get to the campaign. And a lot of the adventures there are just super cool. So I think we made the right call to do it in this order for 5e. And then as I said, we think for a bit on how to do it with the campaign. So again, we can keep to the delivery standard that we hold ourselves to. So
as someone said in the chat, focus on the tasks at hand first, but it's always nice to dream something. Yeah, the dream part was mine, because of course you should do that as well.
Someone is asking about the Copper Crown, and yes, it is actually in the compendium.
Yeah, exactly.
You have the whole Copper Crown, including the Promised Land. So it's the first 3 adventures in the Adventure Compendium.
So that's sort
was
of a mini
released
campaign.
first. Yeah, mini campaign.
Yeah, a lot of juicy stuff there.
Mark has a question. Will it make sense for me to read the Throne of Thorns just to get even more into the Symbaroum world?
And this is Mark, who was new to the Symbaroum world.
It is, yes.
Darker, deadlier, and deeper, which I thought was great.
People actually do buy them and read them as more or less ordinary books. We've heard of lots of people doing that. So yeah, it makes perfect sense to do that. We should add that the Throne of Thorns is built like a chronicle. So you have a setting that is constantly evolving from part to part. So the adventures are more or less standalone. You can play them with every adventure with new characters. But there is the world is in motion between these. So if you do want to read them in sequence, starting with Wrath of the Warden and then moving forth.
But again, you don't have to read anything in the Throne of Thorns campaign to make sense of Ruins of Symbaroum and all the content there. It will take you all the way to every place that you need to go and all of that. It's more of a if you just can't control yourself and need to dive head first into the Symbaroum pool, then by all means, there's a lot of stuff in there that you can do. We're also going to have a guide, a conversion guide that we maybe should want to mention that we promised to make.
Oh, okay.
That will help people. It's not a mechanical thing. You can't just pour original Symbaroum data in it and get 5e out, but we'll give guidelines based on how Jacob have has built the system, and we've worked back and forth. There's a way to look at a stat block from the original Symbaroum game and turn into a 5e stat block or along those lines. So it's more craft and art than the science for sure. But still, you can use that if you want. There's some side materials that also were not part of the Kickstarter that you might want to convert. So you'll have that opportunity to do that if you're.
Will that be a PDF?
If you're on the DIY type, there's a.
Or if you already have all the Symbaroum products.
Yeah.
So that'll be a PDF that will be provided to the backers.
I know for sure it'll be PDF. I don't think we have a print option, do we?
Sure.
No. And I don't. And it wasn't. I don't think it wasn't a stretch goal either. So, but it will for sure go to all backer. I don't see a reason not to give it to everybody, but sure back.
It will be a free download, and you will be able to find it both on drive-through and on our site. I'm pretty sure on the Symbaroum page of the Free League site.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, we're almost at an hour. Well, we're over an hour and 20 minutes, and usually these go a little bit over anyway. But is there one last thing that the three of you'd like to say to the backers of this Kickstarter before we sign off? Is there anything that you would like to convey to everyone that maybe hasn't been said, or maybe you'd like to re-emphasize that? Jacob, would you like to address the folks that are live with us now, or will watch this after the fact?
Sure. Number one, thank you. Thank you so much for all of your support, for all of your suggestions, for all of your questions. It's absolutely fantastic. We've been blown away. We didn't know exactly what to expect. We hoped for success, but we found tremendous, amazing success with all of you, and we very much appreciate it. So yeah, absolutely. I have seen a few questions go by in chat about other projects with Free League that I'll be working on. This is not going to impact them. They're two different streams. I think everybody's kind of familiar with the idea that, you can work on something for so long, and then at a certain point, your eyes are crossed and you're burnt out, and you're like, okay, let me switch to something else for half an hour or whatever to you change speeds for a minute. And that's how I work, so it's not going to impact anything to do with Symbaroum for any future projects. So nice. just to assure folks who are worried about that. So that's me.
Excellent. Mattias, Lilja, would you like to address the folks?
Just I'm often pretty optimistic, so my best cases are often quite fancy. But it was absolutely fulfilled this time, so I'm super happy about everybody contributing to this. It was awesome stuff.
All right, that leaves one last Mattias left. Mattias, what would you like to say to everyone?
Well, I think hopefully I've said it enough to make your ears bleed in the updates. How super grateful we are for your support, and not only in terms of funding, but also in terms of reaching out to friends and acquaintances and spreading word about the campaign on forums and Facebook and whatnot, Twitter. We are at the place now with Ruins of Symbaroum where we didn't expect to be, and that is all thanks to you. And I mean it in a very, very positive way, of course. As I said in one of we will not only launch a game in February, we will launch a game line. And that is a vast different. Hopefully it will make enough of an impact so that we really quickly can start evolving this game line as well. Bottom line, thanks.
Yep, I think that pretty much sums it up. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you to everyone that backed this project. Thank you to everyone that backs everything that we do at Free League Publishing, because without you, we're not able to do this. And thank you. Gentlemen, thank you for giving me your time. And Anna, thank you again for being my co-host.
Yay, thank you, Doug.
Absolutely. We'll have to. We're a pretty good dynamic duo. We'll have to team up again for a few of these in the future. And
yes.
Gentlemen, thank you. Congratulations.
To the backers also, see you all in the updates of the days to come. We will keep you updated on all that happens, mostly by way of the Kickstarter page. So stay tuned. We will return with more news and with more jubilations and whatnot.
One other thing I'll mention is that if you haven't already hit the subscribe button on this channel, we would love to have you as a subscriber. We love to keep everyone in touch with what we do, and we try to create content fairly regularly on this channel, since we can't get together at conventions right now, and getting together in person is kind of tough. This is what we've kind of found as a platform to get everyone informed on all of our things for Free League Publishing. Also, you can also check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Make sure to follow all of those for other updates and announcements that we have coming up, because I have a feeling that this isn't the last Free League project that's going to be announced in 2021. So be prepared. There might be more.
I know nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There might be more. Yes.
There might be more. Yeah.
Everyone be safe, be well, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Have a good one, guys.